Big thanks to everybody who donated to the Hatebreed record. We will have a label to announce very soon and a street date and album title and song previews and all that. Big shout out to Nero Griggs over there in Springfield, Ohio. You will be on the thanks list, buddy. We appreciate you. Also, Greg Brace over there in Boulder City, Nevada. Shout out to Nevada. We got to get you a show on Summer Slaughter Leg too. Beckett Kripe, what's up, Beckett, over there in Columbia City, Indiana. Make sure you head out to the Fort Wayne show July 22nd, and your name's going to be in the new Hatebreed record there, Mr. Beckett. Also, Xochitl Salazar. Xochitl? Man, if I'm butchering your name, brother, Mr. Salazar, over there in San Jose, California, I apologize. Get me the pronunciation, and we'll give you another shout out. We'll give you a second shout out because you're as diehard as they come. Also, Rick Kripe, you're also from, I think you got to be related to Beckett, so shout out to Rick and Beckett over there in Columbia City, Indiana rather. And I will get to the rest of the shout outs on the next episode. Thank you so much. Hello, we got a great show for you today. Prika Amaral from Nervosa is on the show for the first time. So excited to talk to Prika. Great new record. If you haven't heard it yet, go check out the new Nervosa. It came out last month on Napalm Records. The record is called Slave Machine. I really appreciate Prika taking the time to chat with us, and we're getting super excited for Milwaukee Metal Fest. Remember, today's episode is brought to you by our Milwaukee Metal Fest sponsor, Reigning Phoenix Music. Head on over to Reigning Phoenix Music after the podcast today. You'll see they have a ton of new releases like Transformers, the movie soundtrack. That's coming out July 24th, which they worked with Hasbro on. Also, they have the Kerry King Extended Deluxe Edition, which is coming out June 19th. You can pre-order now over at reigningphoenixmusic.com. That Kerry King Deluxe version has bonus tracks. Speaking of Kerry King, come hang out on International Slayer Day at Milwaukee Metal Fest. Kerry won't be there, unfortunately, but maybe we'll get him for 2027. But come hang out with us at Milwaukee Metal Fest June 4th through the 7th. Get your tickets now at therave.com/metalfest. It's going to be a good time. And this is the last week to buy meet and greets online. Get your meet and greets before they are gone. Killswitch sold out. Obituary sold out. Acid Bath sold out. But we still have a couple left at martyrstore.net. Head on over to martyrstore.net after the podcast today. And hope everybody had a great Memorial Day weekend. You can still use the code MDAY at martyrstore.net. That's MDAY, MDAY, and save $5 on a Milwaukee Metal Fest meet and greet or some new Hatebreed merch or new Crowbar merch. All right, Prika Amaral from Nervosa is on the podcast. Hit the music.
My friend, the lead singer of Hatebreed, the infamous and notorious Jamey Jasta is in the building. That's what's up.
Jamey Jasta from the metal band Hatebreed. That guy's famous.
Coffee, death metal, and push-ups.
That's Jamey Jasta. Remember Jamey Jasta? You know him. He's a podcaster, but he's a metal man.
I would say delete that.
That shit is hard.
Your host, Jamey Jasta of Hatebreed.
Welcome to the show. Prika from Nervosa is here, fresh off the release of the new album, which is killer, by the way. I was just listening to Impending Doom. So congrats. I noticed you're wearing a dress in the video. I was like, oh, that's a nice touch. No pants. What was why no leather pants? Why no jeans?
You see, I think I already used all of these things too much. And I was thinking, like, I want to surprise our fans, but at the same time, I don't want to be far from who I am, you know, like, and then I found that I remember we were in a store here in Greece trying to search for clothes for the video clip and trying to create a conception and things like that. And I saw this dress. I said, this look like metal for someone like use on the street. Like it seems like someone is going to a funeral. I like it.
Yeah.
Let's see what's gonna happen. I don't know if we're really gonna use this on the video clip, but when I put the girls, they're like, oh no, that's awesome, let's do it. And I did.
Yeah, it came out great. The video looks great. Well, they always give us rules when we do these videos, and it's like no white shirts or no bright colors. And I always hate having to shoot videos. It's like my least favorite thing to do. So I'm like, let me just wear my crowbar hoodie or I'll wear something where they're like, you wore that in the last video. It's like, so
Exactly.
but did you guys
Exactly.
talk about that? Did you say like, hey, let's not wear the same thing? Because that's another thing that'll happen. I'll wear the same shirt as Frank or Matt. And then we have to figure out, all right, we need a different shirt. So we're not all wearing the same shirt.
Yeah, I think like because in the previous album and the entire history of Nervosa, we were just wearing whatever we were feeling comfortable. And I like these things like because there's no standard stuff and you can be yourself. I like this. But at the same time, we were talking to give a step further with Nervosa and do something different. And we were trying to find a point that we can keep being ourselves, like not everybody using the same thing, but with some kind of rules. Example, okay, all black, no logos. But then it's like each of us find ourselves and our style inside of the things like no logo and all black for this video clip specifically. But we did like for other video clips, we used the military green, which was a new challenge, like for us also. So it was nice to have this something different. And we are ready to bring this on stage as well. I never was a fan to have a stage clothes and clothes after the show. I never was a fan of this. But I understand, it can be good if you want to put the band in a different way to see the band, can be something interesting. But everything is a task. That doesn't mean that we cannot come back and change it again. We are experiment things.
Yeah, I liked it. And I instantly thought of Dave Mustaine because I know he's always said, you should look like the band. You should be well put together. You shouldn't look like the road crew. And when we finally got a Megadeth tour after being submitted on, 20 years of Megadeth tours we tried to get on and they always said no. And when we finally got on the tour, I thought, oh man, he's going to come out and see us in our Exodus t-shirts and our camo shorts and be like, oh, what the fuck? It's a band that looks like the Roadies. So when I saw this video, I was like, oh yeah, you should get the Megadeth tour now. He's going to see that. He's going to see that. And that would be a big tour for you. And he would appreciate the effort that you put in. Not that I could go either way. I like when sometimes bands have uniforms. Like I like Anthrax kind of has those various different I don't want to say uniforms, but it's like stage clothes, which is cool because then it looks, it has an aesthetic that you can latch onto, or if you like it, you can look forward to seeing it. But then there's the bands that change it up every show, which I think is cool too. It's given
a different impression.
And I'm sure you've worn shirts of bands where then the bands say, hey, thank you for wearing our shirt. So many people, saw it in the magazine. Yeah.
Yeah, I love to bring the t-shirts from my friends' bands, to wear on interview or things like that to help them to promote. I like this idea, but I understand it's important you dress different clothes on stage if you want to bring the band for a next level, example. Nowadays, this is something important. This was never important, example, for bands like Slayer, doesn't matter till nowadays. But this is something that they conquer their space in the metal scene in a totally different way, totally different time. Now things has changed and we have to update ourselves if you want to keep going with your band. Because sometimes some bands doesn't understand why my band name is not working. And you have to be more flexible with some stuff to a certain point, because for me it's really important we not forget who we are, we don't have to be something that we are not. That is something extremely important for me. Okay, we have to give another step, let's talk, but find a way to make something that is true,
Yeah, and I think when they ask you to do certain photo shoots or when they ask you about if you're open to doing a different outfit or a different style of photo shoot, if you're not open to it like we were in the past with Hatebreed, I think it cost us the opportunity to be on the magazine covers. And maybe in hindsight,
it would have been okay if we did something really stupid or silly. I think the craziest one we ever did was maybe the Revolver one where we all wore suits. But there was ones where it's like, oh, there's a photo shoot where they said, wear this bear head. And I was like, I'm not going to wear a bear head. Like, why would I do that? But have you had those conversations yet where they want exclusive pictures and they want you to do it a certain way at a certain location?
No, we never had this kind of request. As far as I remember, no. They just ask like for good quality of photos, but nothing like exactly about how we dress or something. No.
But now with the success of this record, it could happen, right? I mean, it's been out what now? Just 2 weeks, right? Like, how are you feeling about the reception? It seems like everything I've read, even comments. I don't read comments a lot, but I thought, let me look at the comments, and you're even getting a lot of like very, very nice compliments, which is rare. I feel like on any band's YouTube page. Does that worry you? Are you worried that it's so positive, or does it feel good?
We put everything on this album, and we did so many things. Like we started to plan everything 2 years ago, like how we would compose in between of the tours, because we didn't stop and we did like one tour after another. And to record this album was a miracle, basically, because in the first 6 months of 2025, we did 5 tours in 6 months.
Wow.
And in between, like the only days that we have a we managed to record this album. So we really put everything in there. We, of course, like every time that we release an album, we really want the people to be so much excited as we are, but we are so happy to listen all of this feedback that the people are very excited, and we are feeling extremely anxious to start to play, but we are exactly in the position and the moment to plan things and to rehearse and construct some stuff to bring for the tours. And because this is something different that we never did before, and we need time, like to make things in a good way. We need this time, and we are working very hard for that. But we are extremely happy with everything that the people are saying, and we just feel grateful and anxious, excited to be on the road and see and meet everybody.
Now, when you look back at the catalog and you look through all the lyrics, do you say, all right, we have to change the topics, or are there topics from previous songs that you wanted to revisit as an older, wiser version of yourself? Or how exactly did you kind of decide on what you were going to address and the topics you were going to sing about on this one?
Yeah, I think even though in the past and now, it's about everything that we felt, so I don't regret about any lyrics, or I would change my mind, because that belongs to that moment, and I respect what was created with that feeling in that moment. And I'm like, for this album, we did something a bit different, because it's exactly what we think about of the situation and everything that's going on nowadays. But at the same time, all the lyrics are connected with them, and we did this since the beginning. Something that, example from the previous albums, we were just taking topics and lyrics and find a meeting point. This time we did it like totally opposite. We created the meaning, and then we were writing lyrics related to this topic. And really? Yeah, and it's been very nice. And I feel that I have way more to talk about it. And I would like to write more lyrics about it. Maybe we have a Slave Machine Part 2.
Yeah, I mean, when I first started looking through some of the lyrics, I went back through previous records, and if you read lyrics like to the song Cyber War, it could have been written yesterday, and that's what, 10 years ago, 11 years ago. So I think what you're talking about on this album, it seems very timely, but that's a good way to approach it, right? Like if you have the topic first, do you base it off of a line or just the title or the word and then see where that fits into the riff? Or were you, just then sort of elaborating on the topic and then kind of placing it over the riff?
Yeah, I like to give some directions, but I don't like to force things, and we don't like to create a lot of rules to follow, because then you start to kill the inspirations and the truth of the art itself. So we always start with some directions, like some intentions, but if on the way we feel things different and we want to change or do something, it's always open for that. Because of this reason that I say, like, we don't want to kill the essence of the things. And at the same time, that the title of the album, it's very nowadays. At the same time, it was inspired by a book that was written in the 40s, which is 1984. That this book is exactly what's going on right now. Exactly. It's the same thing. So that was the beginning of the inspiration to talk about this new album. And most part, we started with the instrumental part with some riffs here and there, melodies, and we start to building the structure. But sometimes, example, I have some idea for vocal lines on top of the riffs that I already did, and then I record some kind of drafts on top, and then I start to construct the other things, and then I build the lyrics more or less with the music that I created for the vocals. And sometimes I make the lyrics and I adjust the lyrics on top of the instrumental things. It depends. I really like freedom on this moment, because I think this way we can give the best, and never. Because at a certain point, if you start to think in strategy and how it wants to be and how it has to be or things like that, you start to be in a state of mind that you don't like anything. And then you lose yourself and you lose the control of everything, and you cannot deliver anything good. So
yeah, I like when it fits. It's almost like I'm trying to fit a piece of a puzzle, and then when it fits, I'll build it out from there. Sometimes it's hard to find the first word or the first phrase where it fits, but I noticed on this one, it seemed like all the puzzle pieces were really fitting for you. And like I liked a lot of the bridges too. I've been trying to do, I guess some producers would call it a middle 8 section, or just to put just a different section that elevates the track or brings you to a different place. And I thought you guys did that very well on this. Did you kind of go into this record with that thinking of like, these songs are going to be more memorable, they're going to be more sing-alongable, for a lack of a better term, but with the riff as well, because that's like one of the things that all the American artists, love about Brazil and places in South America where they sing the riff. That's
exactly.
That's like one of the best feelings when they do that for your band. But I wondered if you kind of thought about that going into it.
Sometimes yes. Like sometimes yes, we do this intentionally. Like we want to see everybody singing. Example, the chorus of the song "The Slave Machine" was made for the people to sing there, and we really want that. I'm excited to be on the shows and see the people singing. And some other parts, like the riff is for the people to sing. There is no vocal. I said I will not sing this part because the riff is so good. I cannot cover with my vocals there. Let's see the people singing this riff. That's what we hope. But also this album example, we have more time to work in details. Like as you were mentioning about the bridges and this tension between something epic or whatever feeling that we can create with the music, we had more time. The others albums, everything was so tight with the schedule. Like we did the best that we could do it, but we didn't have time to work in these details. That makes a lot of difference sometimes.
Yeah, no, and especially when you're tackling these topics, right? Because if it's one song is about the repression, or I think 1984 it's ripe for inspiration, right? Because you can sing about the effects of totalitarianism. And did I get that right?
Yes.
But also mass surveillance is like, that's something that everyone deals with in bands. When you're traveling, all of a sudden your face, your likeness, you're being filmed in every public space. It's very creepy and weird that then that can be manipulated against you, even if you didn't do anything, if you didn't commit a crime, but if you committed a thought crime. Like how much did you want to go into that? Because some artists would really like steer clear of that, knowing then certain people might know that
Yeah, I think like we artists, we are exposed to everything, to be honest, to absolutely everything. For people to create lies from you that come publicly and inventing things just to harm you, just to make you to lose everything that you built, because there's a lot of envy people doing this outside. And it's what is scaring me more, because I'm not going so deep in these thoughts about the related to artist thing, but as a person in society, like we are being listening and seen all the time by our cell phones. Wherever we go, wherever we say, everything that we're speaking privately, they have access. We are all the time with our phones since we wake up till we sleep. And for us, as an artist, we have no way to escape it from cell phones. It's the way for we be in touch with our family, for our friends, because we are on the road all the time. We need the cell phone. And that's the trigger for us to bring in this topic. And then I was remembering from 1984, because it's my favorite book. And I said, like, it is exactly what the book it's talking about it. And it's crazy because the book was made in the 40s. And this is possible right now. Because back in time, it was a kind of utopic, because they were saying like the televisions inside of the house and the cameras and these things. But now the things are way further than this, way further. You know, you really don't have any single privacy anymore. And that's what's scaring me more, beyond to the being an artist or not, because even though if you are not artist, these things can happen in a smaller scale, but it still can happen with you. We never know when, like, our privacy will be in the hands of some wrong person, example. And this impunity, like, it's something like the authorities and governments should work for that, but actually they are doing opposite. That's the scare most.
Jamey here with a quick interruption, letting you know today's episode is brought to you by Blue Grape Music. They just signed Power Trip. They got new music out from Gridiron. They got Torn Open, Gasket, and a ton of killer other bands. Head on over to bluegrapemusic.com after the show today. Sign up for the email list, order some merch, order Torn the Fuck Open Volume 2. Check out that new Gridiron track. The new EP, Lights Out, is coming very soon. It's probably already out by the time you're hearing this plug. You'll get all the information over at bluegrapemusic.com. They also have new releases from Silly Goose, Gasket, Flat Wounds, and more. You'll see all the information you need over at bluegrapemusic.com. Now back to the show.
Right, especially the ones that are that want the laws to protect the unfair splitting of profits, or a lot of the stuff that we're seeing now in the news, especially this week, if there's a certain grip, if there's a certain power structure that's monopolizing areas of the business, it becomes like almost an act of rebellion just to fall back in love with everything that's not part of that, right? And or you could even say, if you took the characters out, like if you took Winston's characters out and just made took Julia's character, right? Is it Julia? I think it's Winston and Julia. if you took those characters out and made the forbidden love story like your love of nature, or not being connected, or not being spied on, or constantly listened to, like that's almost, you would be looked at as insane, right? If you went off the grid and you said, I don't want a cell phone, I don't want a computer, I want to go live in the Amazon or whatever, they would be like, are you crazy? And you'd be like,
kind
why?
of. But I think there are a lot of people that it's like really enough with those things, but no one's know how to get out and still be alive and survive and being inside of society. But I see a small and very shy movement of some people that it's like being avoiding social medias and all of these things, because I'm not against these things, like social media and cell phone. But I think the problem there, it's we reach a level that there is no boundaries anymore for anything. Like if you put some like, okay, cell phones are not allowed to listen what we are talking. We know that they're gonna do this anyways illegally, maybe, but if there is a law that forbids this example, and then we are start to building the limits and everything, or example, now there are some movements to create some rules, example in Australia for kids to not use social media till a certain age, which is kind of beginning for we feel and discover how to make this more health, because there are some advantages and some good things in there. Example, this interview that we are doing right now, it's something amazing that we can do this. And luckily, because we have internet, we have cell phones and all of these technologies. This is good part. The problem is like there is no limit. The crimes that are committed online depends of the country, depends of the rules. We are not meeting each other. There is nothing efficient there, and that's the biggest problem. But I think this is something that everybody feels the same. And we created this album and we brought this topic exactly for we all think about it and start to discuss, because the entire machine, the entire system, it's controlling us more than anything like never was before. And many times it's without we realize. Example, when we open the social media, it's getting worse. We open the social media to search for something. Example, I remember I want to get in contact with this friend of mine, and you go there to put the name, but then appears something that takes your attention and you forget what you're going to do. Like we're going to do. So that's horrible. They are kidding with our emotions, with our feelings, with our attention. And when the limits is going to be there,
Yes.
it's the question, the things that everybody thinks about it.
It's scary too, because it's a multi-clawed beast, right? Because on one claw is the well, it's just to help you shop. They're just listening because they want to market items to you that you're interested in anyways. But if you and I are in the room together and I don't have my phone, or I put my phone in a Faraday cage and we're having a private conversation, I don't want your phone listening to what I'm saying. And then all of a sudden your algorithm is different. And then who has access? It's not just Amazon with the Alexas. It's not just Apple, but you could say those are two companies that have kind of a monopoly on that, especially the technology to voice to text or voice to command your TV to turn on or whatever. So yeah, they have to be listening just in case you want to turn your Alexa on, your TV on, or whatever that might be. But then the other scary part is when that stuff can be manipulated by someone who just doesn't like you. I mean, we've all had people that you go, I never did anything to this person. I've never even met this person. Why do they want to destroy me and destroy my life? That's just a weird, fucked up part of this system.
Yeah. But people are mentally destroyed, this, because this for me, it's like envy, frustration, or other mental problems that the person can have. Like it's beyond
Right.
to this thing, but this is like the chance for them to destroy more.
Yes, and I wonder if it's a self-fulfilling prophecy or like a self-feeding disease where then the compulsion or the obsession with hurting others, whatever that dopamine kick they get from leaving a nasty comment or saying you said something that you didn't, or saying you did something that you didn't in a forum or whatever, then when people do search you, then all of a sudden the AI is grabbing that and creating this narrative.
Content. Content to keep feeding that because you are interesting to see that. Oh, yes, I'm like that. I like it. Yes, I'm like that. And then you start to see it's horrible. They are contributing to improve these things inside of the people, for sure. Because I see, like, example, some friends of mine, they have some kids that they are having a lot of eating disorder. And this is because of the videos that is appearing on social media. Like how you have to be, how types of dieting you have to do it, what types of body, it's beautiful, the most thin possible, and they start to select and give this to you. And for a kid, it doesn't have the brain already done, this kills this human. It's being horrible, man.
Yeah, in the music industry especially, I've tried to explain this to younger artists and even some of my daughter's friends, where just because a company takes the best looking person or the most thin or in shape person and pushes them to the forefront, with all the marketing money and everything, the public should know what that is. The public should know. I hate to use the term industry plant, but you make a good point with what you're saying about your friends and their kids experiencing these types of disorders, because it's an impossible thing to achieve. You're not going to look like I'm using Dua Lipa or someone like that as an example, a pop star. Mm-hmm. You could even use like Jennifer Lopez as an example, because technically, she's not writing her songs, but she's a great dancer, great performer. I'm not taking anything away from her, but when you're marketable, you will get the push. And I think as independent artists, or even as artists that maybe are on a bigger label that has wider distribution, it takes a couple times where someone doesn't fit the mold to then inspire others to go, oh, I can do that too. Or, oh, I don't have to look a certain way or act a certain way, and I can still have success. And we need to amplify examples of that, because I think when you only amplify, say, like I'm sorry with the names, but like the two girls that were promoting the film Wicked 2, they were so emaciated and looked so like they had eating disorders, and they have to promote the movie, and then you'd be called a sexist, or you'd be called any sort of name if you said, hey, go eat a sandwich. You'd be called insensitive. But at the same time, you have people at the heads of these companies saying, hey, lay off the sandwiches or lose some weight so we can. And I've had that said to me, like, hey, you have this video coming up, or you have this photo shoot coming up, you should probably drop a couple pounds. And that's fine. I actually was like, I appreciated the honesty, but I do feel like you're kind of damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Yeah. In a weird way, because if you want to be in these films, until we start seeing other representation, how do you know what you have to do to get to that part? Or do you have to just stay true to yourself no matter what?
Yes. I think, like, at the same time, nowadays, because of the internet, we have a lot of democracies, and we have like a lot of examples of people that it's completely out of the standard of the society example. And artists like Ted Swin example. I love him. he looks totally different. He has tattoo in his face, and he's a huge pop artist. But he dressed totally different. He does everything out of the box, and he has everything. Like we have millions and millions of examples, like to be out of the box and big success. This depends of your parents, besides of you, and who you are living with. Because if you put your kids, example, to be in the phone all the time, just to don't bother you, these people are gonna rise up with ideas through this resource, like. But if the parents are very present and they say, like, look, you can be beautiful the way that you are. You don't need to change. Look at this artist. She's great. It's amazing. Like, and you work for that. It's different. But if it's a person that doesn't have no one's to guide you, to help you when you are becoming to be an adult, and then the things start to be really bad. That's why it's important to have limits on social medias again. Because if they are working for you to be with the eating disorder, or for you to feel bad because you need to lose weight or whatever, the reasons for you to lose weight should be related to healthy, not for the appearance.
Yeah, and actually it can go to extremes. It can go to extremes either way, right? Because I'm sure there were people that would say, I'm sure there's people that will use an overweight artist as an example to say, well, you should get at least to a healthy point. But then the fans turn on a lot of artists. The fans get mad when an overweight artist loses the weight. I never understood that. It was like, it's a double standard. Like we're like, I can say, okay, yeah, Ariana Grande, she shouldn't be emaciated and looking like, just skin and bones. And people will say she could look however she wants, but okay, but what about all the young girls that are looking up to her and thinking, oh my God, I can't eat anything. But I want to look like that. It's an impossible standard to live to. But on the other hand, you see someone like Adele. I think it was Adele was the first sort of big one where when she lost the weight, the fans were like, oh, I thought Big was beautiful. I thought,
it's impossible you make everyone to like you the way that you are. That's why it's important you don't give a shit about the comments. Like, of course, it's good that you read and listen some stuff to know about your fans. But out of everyone that it's not your friend or don't want the best for you, it's toxic. Like...
Hey everybody, it's Jamey here reminding you that Metal Blade Records sponsors the Jasta Show, and we couldn't be more thankful. We have Armored Saint and Monstrosity and Killswitch Engage playing at Milwaukee Metal Fest this year, and they all have releases out on Metal Blade Records right now. Head on over to metalblade.com/Armored Saint. Check out all the vinyl bundles. You'll be able to preview the tracks as well. New Armored Saint, Emotion Factory, Reset, killer new stuff, and catch them Saturday, July 6th with Killswitch Engage. And if you're into the death metal, don't forget metalblade.com/Monstrosity. Monstrosity's new album is out now. It is called Screams from Beneath the Surface, and they are playing Friday, June 5th with Acid Bath, Agalok, Obituary, and many more. metalblade.com/Monstrosity, or just head on over to metalblade.com after the podcast today. Big thanks to Metal Blade Records. Now back to the show.
You can be criticized with respect, with the things that really matters. But when these things is trying to go nonsense, that's why don't lose your time reading comments, because there's just bullshit and trash and it will make you feel bad.
And in moderation and everything too, because I'm sure I know I can name 5 people right now who take the working out just way too far, and they're miserable. And they are constantly looking in the mirror and trying to get more ripped and more shredded. And, oh, I got it. I can't eat this. I have to take this. I need this. And it's like, that's too extreme as well. And people might envy them and say, oh, their lives must be so good. They must get all the girls or must get all the guys and get all the attention because their body looks like a sculpture. But at the same time, they're miserable.
Yes, I think it's the mechanism of the mind. it's pretty close to a game. You know, when you start to play a video game, like I have to go there and I have to jump and I have to do this and I have to do that. It's exactly the same thing. I cannot eat this, I cannot eat that, but I have to eat this and I have to eat that to be more like that or more less that. It's exactly, it's a game. This is like the people that it's addicted to a game, kind of. It's something really crazy with the minds there.
Yeah, and I think we got on to this point because of how 1984, inspired this record for you. And if you look at Winston's character, it's like he comes to understand how the world is broken and how that has affected him, right? And it's basically because of the way of that society in that book is functioning. And so if you look at any aspect of society, especially music, then the music world, we all know the system is broken. We all know it doesn't function properly, but we have to self-edit and self-censor and kind of work with the system that we're given until there is an alternate, or until that alternate system is amplified enough to where it reaches us and then we can choose to be involved. Have you ever thought like, oh, maybe there is alternate systems out there that we just don't know about because it's not profitable for the powers that be?
Totally. Like, I think nowadays the biggest problem is we have so many options. There's so many tools, so many possibilities that everybody's get lost. Like, I was talking with our guitarist nowadays a few days ago. Like, it's been very hard to put everybody together. Everybody's spread in different places, and we are depending on algorithm, like how we can work to put everybody together again. Like create a new system. No, it's things that we are trying to figure it out. But for sure, always there is another way. And actually, the book created this possibility. Like he was finding a way underground illegally in some way to break the system, and I think there is a way. Of course, there is a way. But let's see, like we are discovering and constantly studying, testing, and figure it out. And I think that's the important thing, not to be like accepting. If you accept, you're gonna get stuck. You're gonna lose. There is no other way. So if you want to get better, to find a solution, you have to take the risk, you have to study, you have to change, you have to adapt to yourself. And actually the music industry is passing through exactly this moment. And we've been in so many things, like with the fake CDs, fake tapes. Okay, this doesn't exist anymore, kind of. It's very rare. People are not consuming fake CDs and tapes anymore. And then we have the download, illegal download. Okay, we solved that. It's very hard. You download and probably no one wants because of virus. And the streaming platforms can give you for free in many different ways. It's more accessible for everybody. But at the same time, the artists are struggling a lot because we never get so less amount of money for everything. And what we're gonna do now? What is the next step? And some stuff actually is in the hands of the big artists. But when I mean big artists, is the artists that has billions and many, many millions, that they have the power to say, you know what? We are not contributing that. Because us, as a small artists, we cannot fight. If you were not inside of that platform, we are done. We have no way to promote our music, to reach everybody. But if big artists start to say no, and then the things maybe can start to change, or they start to say no, we want more because we are doing more, or I don't know. Things has to change, but it has to start from the top. That is what I think.
And what's crazy is that now some of the artists at the top are being exposed for rigging it to their favor even further, like when they really didn't even need it to be rigged to their favor. There was an expose done recently about a band. I actually think they're from my state. I'm forgetting the name of the band, but it was largely a fake it till you make it type of thing. And we saw that back in the day. Like we saw that with bands being, bought onto Ozfest and bands being bought onto the radio. And I got to be careful with how I word this, but
Yes.
Some of those bands did catch on, like the ones that paid people to go buy their records. Like we used to see that at some of the chain stores. The street teams would go in and buy all the records, so then the bands could have a higher sound scan. And then they would get on bigger tours because they were sound scanning, and then they would get more radio play because the radio play they felt was working, even though it was fake. And we couldn't say anything back then because we're just trying to have our dreams come true. We're just trying to go on tour with Slayer and Ozzy. And so we couldn't say anything. And we were told, don't say anything. But I was like, yo, that's fucked up. Like, just because their guy who runs their label has more money than what we are promised, by our label, they get to go on and make, millions of dollars when it's not real. Well, perception becomes reality. So you have to either find the producer or the songwriter or the executive who believes in you enough. But it's almost, I think, better to be someone who didn't get the push, like a Lemmy or, someone who I guess doesn't have all the pitfalls that comes with something like that. Because do you think those people feel like they really deserved it or they really did it?
For sure, they think that they deserve it. That's why they are doing, and I think that they always find that excuse to make it. But I don't see these things lasting too long. If you don't have the truth, the fans can like your music, but I'm not sure if the fans is gonna stay. Because music and art, it's about connection. When I'm writing the music, when I'm writing a lyric, I want to connect with the people and make them to feel what I feel. And I think that is the legitimate way to make music. Of course, like if you have money, you want to invest in your band till a certain point, till for some stuff, it's a kind of okay. If you have this advantage, why not use? But paying people to buy your record, I think this is kind of too much, like it's a too much fake. Because if you pay to be in a tour example, I don't see this being that bad. I'm not a fan of that, and I never did this with my band. But if the person has this advantage and wants to be on that tour, it's okay, because he's not paying for the people to go to see their band. They are just paying to have that opportunity. But if the band is not good, if you don't connect with the crowd, he always will have to pay. And there will be a certain time that he will not pay anymore, because it's a lot of money. So that's why I say, like, these things cannot last too much. If the band is good, that is a little push in the beginning, and then the band is goes. But if you go too far with those things, we're not going to last. There is no truth. You don't pass connection to the people, I think.
Yeah, there's another group that was accused. Their manager was accused of paying people to attend the shows, and I thought that was a wild one, but it worked. So when the people were paid to attend the shows at these little 100 to 200 cap venues, some of the bigger managers and agents saw, oh wow, this band's their tour is sold out, but it was like seat fillers. they call it. And politicians do this a lot too. Politicians will pay like movie extras or to fill seats. It's something that's done. But yeah, if there isn't a great song or a great performer who is a star in the eyes of, authentic, legitimate fans, then it's not going to work.
Today's show is brought to you by Nuclear Blast Records. That's right, Nuclear Blast has new Madball coming out on July 24th. Not Your Kingdom is the name of the album. You'll see they have limited vinyl, up to 500 copies coming very soon. And you can pre-order now when you head over to nuclearblast.com. You'll see new releases from Sepultura, Green Lung, Dimmu Borgir, and many others. Big thanks to Nuclear Blast Records. Remember, if you're coming to Milwaukee Metal Fest and you got a VIP meet and greet, you got to head on over to the Nuclear Blast VIP check-in area. When you arrive, you get early entry, and we're so stoked to be heading out to Milwaukee Metal Fest. Get your tickets now at therave.com/metalfest and support our sponsors, Nuclear Blast Records. Madball's new album, Not Your Kingdom, dropping July 24th. It's going to be sick. We can't wait. Big thanks to NB. Now back to the show.
But I do wonder here, I'm looking it up right now. This band was called Geese. I do wonder with this band Geese, if the fans that now know them, I wonder if they're even going to care. Because they just like the band and they like the songs. They don't care that it was a marketing ploy. And I guess, the same could be said about anything that we consume, right? Like if I like Chobani yogurt, maybe that's because that's constantly being marketed to me. I don't actually go buy it. I'll eat it like when it's free at the hotel or whatever, like at the Continental breakfast. But there's probably way better yogurt out there that I just don't know about, that I'm not being marketed all day.
Can be, if it's not there, it's not offering to you, maybe. Like, because also we buy things because of the label. If the label is very bad, we say, I don't trust on this, I will go to the other. But maybe it tastes better. You never know. We judge a lot from the outside. So yes, propaganda, it's like guiding you to a certain point for sure.
The article was on wired.com if anybody wants to look it up. It was called the headline of the article is the fanfare around the band Geese was actually a psyop. The Brooklyn-based band Geese was labeled an industry plant by those who questioned its sudden ubiquity, and maybe it was. So yeah, you could get, I'm just reading real quick from it, but yeah, maybe the fans that are already there, they're like, fuck it. We love them. We don't care how we figured out how we loved them. But yeah, I was always wearied of those bands in the late 90s and early 2000s where it's like, where is your demo tape? Where was your tour in the van or your tour in the, like we toured in cars at one point. Like where you just come out of nowhere and you have a record deal and you have a tour bus and you're in a 360 deal. I feel like maybe we were being haters, but I just felt like a lot of it was so inauthentic. But the ones that got very, very big and are still big, more power to them, because they were just trying to do the same thing that we were trying to do and that you're doing currently, which is find a stage, find the fans, hope that they gel with your music. But what is the next step now that you got, now that this album is fresh? Do we got to call Mustaine? Like, do I got to tell them, got to get Nervosa out there? What's going on? You got too much of a pickle party on this tour. You got to get some ladies out there.
Yes, we are working for many tours, but we are studying logistically, but we have a lot of things to announce. And we are making things with more strategy now, because the band already have like 15 years. We tour in many parts of the world in many ways, as you say, like we did tours with the car, we did tours with the van, with the mini bus, big bus, in all the ways possible. And now we are trying to choose for a bit more quality, because we really want to give more to our fans too. So this involves a bit bigger extra tour. And also everything that's going on in the world right now, the costs are getting higher and higher every day. So it's making our life harder. And we are trying to work with these options.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of tours to announce, so that we can not do it right now because we have some contracts, some stuff coming. You're gonna figure it out very soon. But yes.
Well, I think that's why a band like you guys gets so much respect, though, because people know you actually did it, and you did it headlining a lot too, which is not what some of these other groups can say, right? Like when you're out there headlining and taking a smaller band, I think it was Hatebreed, or if I remember correctly, you took.
Yeah, it was with Lich King and Hatebreed.
Yes, and then also you're getting support slots with like Destruction and what was the other one you did? Recently you did Testament Obituary, which I thought, oh, that must have been
yes. We did it with Decapitated. We did tour with Suffocation, Venom, Destruction many times. Yeah, we've been a lucky band.
I remember, I want to say the first time I heard of you was when you did the tour with LG and Entombed AD. Who else was on that?
Yeah, we were supposed to do this tour, but was canceled because of COVID. And right after, unfortunately, he died.
Okay, so you didn't do that tour?
No, it was canceled. It was supposed to be Amorphis, Entombed, and Nervosa.
Okay.
Yeah, it was canceled. The tour was canceled because it was supposed to be in 2020.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And then we wanted to postpone for 2021, but then LG died, and the tour was supposed to be celebrating an album from Amorphis, and then the celebrations already passed because the celebration was supposed to be in 2020, and then the tour never happened.
Yeah. Rest in peace, LG. One of the best.
Yes, such a sweet guy, very true soul, and amazing person.
So the dates that you have in June, then, that's with my buddies 3 Inches of Blood. That'll be great. Or did that already happen last year?
Yes, it already happened last year. Yeah.
Okay, so this next tour is what? You can't announce it?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay. But you're on. I thought you're on Tolminator and a bunch of shows that we're on.
Yeah. The festivals is already announced. Yes.
Okay. What did you think of 3 Inches of Blood? Did you guys get on good with them?
Yeah. It's a very nice band. I didn't know them before, to be honest. And then I was talking with the guys and searching for about the history of the band, and they are really good, really, really nice guys too. It was very nice to play some shows with them.
They toured back in the day with us, and with us and Typo Negative, and we just had so much fun on that tour. Okay, so the package around the dates that you're doing in June then is not announced yet, but it'll be an actual tour?
Not before September. Okay. Yeah, we're going to start tour in September and August and November and December. We have a lot of tours, but we cannot announce any of them, but there's tours coming, yeah.
So out of all the bands that you've toured with, like, who's the most fun? Like, who do you get on with the best?
It's hard to say. Like, I love all the experiences that I have beside of the bands. But I can highlight the last one, which was with the Testament, Obituary, and Destruction, because those bands are the bands that most inspired us, like the bands that we've been on tour. Testament is one of my favorite bands so far, and it was such a nice experience. And I finished the tour. I admired them way more than I was before, because as a person, they were so much respectful with us in all the ways possible. And it was not only such a nice tour, but beautiful tour in all the ways possible. And it was very, very nice. All the bands, crew, everybody on this tour was like something really amazing, unforgettable.
Yeah, that's like the dream tour. I think for any band out there right now that's playing death metal or thrash, that's got to be up there with the dream. I book Milwaukee Metal Fest, and we're really hoping that we have you there next year in 2027. We don't know the dates just yet. We tried to have you this year, but I think you already had some June festivals. Are you playing Mystic Festival?
No, not yet.
Okay, because I thought maybe you were already booked on Mystic that weekend, but next year we had to switch our weekends to accommodate a headliner. But next year, hopefully, we'll have you there. And what's been your experience with Napalm Records? How's that going?
Wow, it's a big part of Nervosa history because we are with them since the very beginning. I remember like back in time, 2012, when we released our first single. We didn't have a CD, nothing. We just released our first video clip, and it got viral on social medias to the point that arrived to them and they sent an email. Back in time, Napalm Records was a kind of small to mid label, and I never heard about them, to be honest. Being in Brazil, things don't arrive that much, mainly back in time that social media was not that big thing nowadays, like it is. But and we saw Napalm growing, and it's very nice to be with this label since the beginning and grow together. And we are releasing the 60th album with them, which is incredible. Yes, since the beginning, since the first one till now, they released all our records. And yes, I'm very grateful for everything that they trusted, they believe, and respecting in us, because they never asked us to change ourselves, looking, photos, or musically talking. They never suggest anything. They just grab everything that we construct and say, okay, we trust in your job, in what you are doing, and let's go, and I appreciate a lot. Because I always had this thing in my mind, like, labels can destroy who you are. They're going to ask us to change things. I was always with this kind of prejudice in my mind. And work with the Napalm was completely opposite. And it's been very nice in this part.
And one thing I think is cool too about this relationship that you have with them is they stuck with you through lineup changes. And that's, that can sometimes derail a band, whereas it seems like they've promoted you even more throughout, and kind of grew with your vision.
Yeah, I'm very, very grateful, because I remember the first moment that we have a big lineup changes in the band, and they, like, I talk with them and I say, like, don't worry, because I'm gonna come with a solution. I remember the day that I wrote the email, they say, okay, let's see. And then I brought the entire lineup to them, like, in a week or something. They were impressed with the girls that I brought. I said, wow, okay. And we renewed the contract with the Napalm without they listen a single song. So that is how much they trusted in Nervosa, but also on me, because I was the only original member there. So they were trusting in my job and in everything that I was doing. And yeah, and since then, like, when we have another lineup change, unfortunately, again, and I say, like, okay, I'm going to assume the vocals is going to be like, they say, don't worry, we trust on you. I say, wow, okay.
That's great. No, and it's going to be so easy for you, like, later on with accounting and stuff, and and if you have to do like a greatest hits later on, or if you want to do live records or whatever, having that just be all on one label must be so organized. I envy you in that way.
Yes, it is. Yeah. But every single album we have different lineups. So
Right.
It's kind of mess in the other way.
Right. I know, right?
Today's episode is brought to you by Sumerian Records. Summer Slaughter Part 2 is here, baby. Get your tickets now. Go to Hatebreed.com. It's Us, Terror, Incantation, Gates to Hell, Torture, and Creeping Death. It's going to be a good time. And support our sponsor of both Milwaukee Metal Fest and the Jasta Show, SumerianRecords.com. Head on over to the site after the podcast today. You'll see they have a ton of vinyl from bands like Born of Osiris, Slaughter to Prevail, New bands like Roman Candle who are killing it. Also Boundaries, who that record's coming out. New Boundaries sounds sick. It's coming out July 17th. You'll see it all over at SumerianRecords.com. And remember, Sumerian has After the Burial and Face Yourself both playing at Milwaukee Metal Fest. Get your tickets at therave.com/metalfest.
Have you ever pitched like an all Brazilian tour, or did anybody have that idea yet? Has that ever been done? Like how the thrash bands have the big four. Why isn't there like the Brazil four? Like, why don't you guys do that?
I think we kind of have, because like all the bands in Brazil, the main bands, we know each other very well, and we have this talking like a long time. But it's very hard to make this happen because the reality from these bands are completely different, and it's very expensive. Brazil example, even tours inside of Brazil, it's extremely expensive because sometimes a flight from the south of Brazil or the southeast, like in São Paulo example, to some cities in the north or northeast, is the same price to go to US.
Holy shit.
If you take a flight to Miami, costs more or less the same to go to Manaus in Amazonia.
Wow.
That it's 4 hours and a half to go to Manaus from São Paulo. So logistically, it's very hard. And also, example, if you want to go to Manaus by road, example, with bus, it's not safe because the road sucks. Second, there is only one road, 2 roads maybe, and you have to go to the widest forest in the world. You have to cross without absolutely nothing, and it's impossible to do it. You just can do it flying there. And then it's like everything is hard. And for a Brazilian band to go outside of Brazil to make a tour, example, in US or in Europe, in US would be hard because of the work visas. The cost is already like double everything. And it's not all the bands that can do it. And example, let's see in Europe, which it's easier because we don't have the work visas topic, still pay for a flight. It's the cost of the flight. It's kind of 5 times a minimum salary in Brazil.
Whoa.
Yes, consider that in Brazil, the minimum salary, it's like $280, the minimum salary.
I wonder if, because we toured there in 2005 with Agnostic Front, and I remember that people were saying, you're going to drive to this one city. I forget the city. I'm trying to find it right now. They said, you're crazy. You can't drive that. And we were going to drive it in this bus. And we got to this bridge and they made us get out of the bridge and walk across. And then they told the bus to come and it was like, go slow, go slow. And the bridge is like, and we're like, oh my God, we were freaking out. I'm trying to find the poster. I mean, this is 20 something years ago, but it was a crazy tour. It was crazy back then trying to I have to give Roger from Agnostic Front the credit because he would go in and argue with the promoters to make sure that we got paid and stuff. And we had this opening band that I felt so bad. They were so scared on the bus. They were like doing the rosary and like,
my God.
Like you just saying about the roads. I mean, we were on roads and we were looking down and there's no, like, you're looking down and you're like, it just doesn't end. Shoot.
Yes, there is some stuff that can happen there that it's really unsafe. That's why, like, it's impossible to do. We have the dreams. All the bands has the dreams to make this the Big Four, the Brazilian Big Four. The Brazilian Big Four, I think, the biggest trash. Because we have different types of Big Fours, but if we're talking about like the Big Four for Brazilian thrash metal bands, it's pretty clear. Unfortunately, Sepultura is doing their last tour and last shows. So then without them it would be a bit nonsense, or I don't know, it would be weird. But yeah, let's see.
So
We all have the
last
hope that they
show-
will come back.
So that last show in Brazil that they're going to supposedly do, you don't think you'll be on it?
I don't think so. I don't think they. I don't know. I don't know. Really don't know.
We wanted to be on it. I don't know if it's still happening. I'll have to find out. But I thought,
of course, we want to be there. We did like one show with them in Peru 2 years ago. Was the beginning of the farewell tour.
okay.
And yes, they are amazing guys. But yeah, we have to respect the moment of the band. But we all fans have the hope that they will come back somehow.
Yes, I know. Right now, it doesn't seem like it will ever happen. But yeah, we got to keep hope. I don't think we've ever played Peru. I'd love to go to Peru. How was that?
It was very nice. We played kind of, not a lot of times, but I remember we did some 3 or 4 shows, not only the Cape Town. We've been there sometimes because flying from Brazil to there, it was easy. Now that the band don't live in Brazil anymore, it's kind of harder. But yeah, we played in Bolivia, example. We did some shows in some cities, different cities there. And
Bolivia. Yeah, I got really sick in Bolivia. It was from the smoke machine. It was like the smoke machine fucked me up. It was some crazy smelling smoke. I found
the altitude is something crazy.
Here it is. So we missed the Belo Horizonte show because we were stuck in Caracas at the airport. We had to sleep in the airport in Caracas. Then we went to Sao Paulo, then we drove to Curitiba, and then we drove to São José dos Campos.
Okay.
And then to Santiago, and then to Bogota. So now you would just fly every day. You wouldn't drive, right?
Depends. There is some distance that it's okay to drive. Example, from Rio to São Paulo to Curitiba to Florianópolis. Yes, you can drive, and it's kind of safe in those areas. The problem is more in the north of Brazil because the distance between of the cities is very small and the population is smaller there. And also it's more poor and abandoned, somehow. And it can be very dangerous because of corruption as well. Like the politics don't take care about the roads and everything can be full of holes. Maybe you will not find a gas station. It's
right.
Yeah, it can be terrible.
Probably where the best shows are, though, too, where the crowd is just so hungry and they're so ready to just rock.
Yeah, no, the show time, it's amazing. They give their lives because maybe it's going to be the only time that they can see us. So they treat it like the last show of their lives. It's amazing, the experience on stage. It's the best, and I miss that a lot. But arrive to there, pay all the costs, and be there is something insane.
Yes. Well, Prika, thank you so much for the time, and best of luck with Slave Machine. It seems like everybody's loving the record now, and well, I'm sure we'll see you somewhere in Europe over the summer.
Yeah, for sure.
And hopefully we'll see Mustaine and we'll tell him take you on that tour. But Anthrax is good too. New Anthrax album coming out. I mean, now that you did Obituary, Destruction, and Testament, the next obvious step, right? It's like,
yes, exactly. We are ready. Just call us. We are into that. We are a band that really loves to be on the road. That's the truth, but we want to improve our sound on stage, the things that we can give to the fans. So that's why we are taking this time. But we are ready to be on the road all of the year.
Great.
That's the truth.
See the announcements and best of luck with everything. And thanks again.
Yes, thank you so much for this opportunity, and I wish you the best. And thank you. And see you very soon on the road.
Yes, and next year Milwaukee Metal Fest.
Yes. Nice.
Take care.
Bye bye. Have a nice day.
Thanks for listening to the show, everybody. It's greatly appreciated. Head on over to martyrstore.net and get your new Hatebreed merch or get your meet and greets for the new Summer Slaughter Leg 2 of the tour or Leg 1. Come out and see us. We're doing Hellfest in New Jersey. We're doing Cadet Rock Fest. We're doing Incarceration. We're playing the Rumble in Chicago. We got so many great shows over the summer. We can't wait to see everybody. And remember, Crowbar is headed out too. If you want to get their VIP meet and greet, you can get it at martyrstore.net as well. Got to thank our sponsors, the great and powerful Blue Grape Music. Just signed Power Trip. Got new releases from Torn Open, Gridiron, Gasket, who are playing the Milwaukee Metal Fest pre-party with your boy. So many more. Head on over to bluegrapemusic.com. Also, thank you to Reigning Phoenix Music. They have that new Kerry King Deluxe edition of his record coming out. You can get it at reigningphoenixmusic.com. And of course, Nuclear Blast Records. Tons of great releases. Got to support the new Madball album coming out in July. Also, they have recent releases from Sepultura and Dimmu Borgir, which just came out. Nuclearblast.com. Big thanks to Sumerian. Once again, Sumerian helping us bring back Summer Slaughter Tour. 2 legs in 2026. Had so much fun in 2025. We got to do 2 legs of the tour in 2026. They are both on sale now. Hatebreed.com for dates. Can't wait to have Terror and Incantation and Torture and Creeping Death and Gates to Hell on the second leg. It's going to be a blast. And while I have you, make sure you sign up for the Milwaukee Metal Fest email list over at metalfest.com. And yeah, get your meet and greets before they're gone. This is the last week to get them at martyrstore.net. Of course, you could join us on the Patreon and get all the inside baseball that you want, all the behind the scenes and a ton of extra content. Patreon.com/Jasta, and of course, gasdigital.com for the archives. All right. I love you all. Thank you all. Drink your coffee, do your push-ups, listen to Incantation, and I'll be back with another episode very soon. Bye-bye. The Jasta Show is executive produced by Jeffrey Kewing, Andy Wilson, Jack Flanders, Justin Stephen, Jake Olszewski, Benjamin Lee, Kathy D'Ambrosio, Chris Larice, Jason Jarvis, JJ Hernandez, Nick Torito, Garrett Keeping, Kyle Marr, Nick Fowler, AJ Lewis, Jonathan Mettis, Mark Tagg, Andy and Kona Butterflies, Ryan Levson, Kenneth Moore, Jamie Kutcher, Matthew Yankowskis, Chad Green, Dallas Bolin, Larry Tooley, John Hankis, Brian Undercoffer, Fernando Somoza, Nathan Rex Madrid, Chris Winchester, Mark Horror Armenta, Mike Horgan, Dominique Zimmer, Mark Loikitz, Emma Horgan, Stephen Helm, Samuel Angeli, Adam Mecklenburg, Anthony Lutzy, Jared DeWeese, Dan Ryan, Alex Queller, Mike Murray, Chad Longworth, Clint Smith, Dan Sullivan, David Hammock, Robert Bouchaw, Steve DeTurting, Heathen Assault, Jason Duran, Chris Panasic, Zane Dickens, Jay Liberston, Aaron Ramey, Dave Cowles, Brandon Johnson.